Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, and welcome to another bike review here on the channel. Today it's a motorcycle that, to be completely frank with you, when it first came out and I first saw the pictures of it at the back end of 2022, I was thinking, nah, not too interested in that one, so I wasn't in a rush to get on the bike. However, then Honda told us how much the bike would be, and then I got interested. What bike am I talking about? Well, of course, it is the new Honda Hornet, a brand new bike for 2023 model year. The launch of this was out in Spain a couple of months back, so you may have seen a few of those videos. I never go to bike launches. I just think you're duty bound to say nice things when you've been flown somewhere warm and wined and dined. So I'd rather ride the bike in my home environment and understand how the bike handles and feels for the sort of riding that I would normally do. So anyway, that's what this first ride video is all about. It's the first time I've been on the new Honda Hornet, and this is going to be my first impressions review. So if you're interested in this bike, stick around, stay tuned. I'll tell you what I think of it. Alright, so before I tell you more about what I think of how it rides, let me just tell you what I think of the looks of the bike. Let me show you around this bike, see what you think of it. So when I first saw the pictures of this bike, I thought it was a bit meh. I must say the front end didn't look very inspiring. It just didn't look that much different to me to any other bikes that are out there. So I thought looks wise, not that great, but I have to say, having now seen it in the flesh, it does look better than I thought. I'm not saying it's a great looking bike by any means, but in this particular colour, this black with the red frame, I think it looks pretty nice actually. It's quite interesting, this this frame design on here. It's obviously tubular, but it's got some sort of more almost moulded bits as well. I've not seen a design quite like that before. The exhaust looks quite neat, I think, and it sounds really good. We'll talk more about that later, but it's got some clever tuning done in it, so it sounds different at different revs, which is good. Honda have thought about the sorts of things that we like. The rear end, big old rear end there, maybe needs a tail tidy, but might be tricky because you've got the indicators on the back of there, so I don't know how that's going to work. But yeah, I think in this colour scheme, particularly with the red frame, it looks okay. It's not, there's something about the front that I'm not hugely keen on, but it's by no means hideous looking. And anyway, it's not all about looks, it's about how they ride. So let's get back on the bike. Just a quick ad actually, I'm just riding back now home after having done that review, so the timing of this clip's all out, but I think I might have been a bit harsh on the looks. I must just say, of course, all that look stuff is subjective. That's just my views. I'm not saying it's a hideously ugly bike by any means. I'm just saying there's nothing about it that particularly grabs me, but it might do you, and that's absolutely fine. It's purely a subjective point. All right, I thought I should make that point. Back to the main review. Okay, so welcome back to Great Missenden on my standard test route. It's a beautiful day, as you can see. It's the middle of February when I'm recording this, and well, we've had one or two nice riding days of late, so it's a real treat to get out on a motorcycle, I must say. And also I must say, even though I wasn't particularly looking forward to riding the Honda Hornet, my mind is already blown because this bike comes in at £1 less than £7,000, and you get an awful lot of bike for your money. So when I say you get an awful lot of bike for your money, what am I talking about? Well, let me tell you some of the stuff that comes with this bike. So to start off with, 2-channel ABS, 5-inch TFT screen, which looks lovely. We'll look at that bit more in a minute, with connectivity, so you can connect your phone up to it and do turn-by-turn nav, all that sort of thing, if that's your game. It's got 4 riding modes, including user modes, which is where you can change all the various parameters. It's got an optional quick shifter. It's got Honda selectable torque control, which includes anti-wheelie. It's got LED lights all around. You can get it with a touring pack that gives you luggage, a tail pack, bags at the side, that sort of thing, a tank bag. You can get it with a sports pack, which does give you the quick shifter, a seat cowl, a fly screen, or a style pack that comes with frame sliders, bar ends, weight and stickers. You can get it as an A2 license friendly version, and what else we missed? Oh, and it comes in 4 colours as well. This one, which is called Graphite Black, which I think is probably my favourite. You can get it in a Pearl Glare White, I don't know how they come up with these names by the way, Iridium Grey Metallic, which actually looks quite nice too I think, and a matte Goldfinch Yellow. So yeah, you get a lot for your 7,000 quid, don't you? Now it's not just the good price that blows my mind. I mean, I've literally been on the bike 10 minutes and already I can feel that I really love this bike. When it was first announced, I thought that's a bit meh, it's another middleweight parallel twin, and there's just so many of those these days. I just couldn't get excited about it. But you cannot argue with the specifications, the level of electronics they give you, the quality of the build, the accessories that are available, which we'll go through all that during the course of the review. But forgetting all that, just jumping on it and seeing how it feels in this first 10 minutes of the ride, I already know that I love this bike. It just feels light and flickable. Talking of weight and lightness, this bike comes in at 190 kilograms ready to ride. So I think that means with some fuel, not necessarily full. By the way, 15-litre tank on here as well, so I expect this to be quite frugal. But anyway, 190 kilograms, so yeah, it does feel nice and light. It's easy to get on with. It reminds me, and don't take this the wrong way, but it reminds me very much of my Mrs. 125 in that it's a similar sort of size. It is a little bit bigger, but it feels kind of as easy to move around as that, and it's as comfortable as that, and it's as light as that. Well, it's not quite as light as that, but it feels it when you're on the move. It just strikes me as a very easy bike to get on with. I can't see anyone not liking this when they go on it. So I've already gushed quite a lot about this bike, so you're going to see how this review turns out, I'm sure. But anyway, let's go through the usual bits and pieces on it. Let's look at the bike from a practical perspective. First of all, what is it like from a comfort perspective? Well, I'm sat bolt upright, as you can probably see, hopefully on the 360 camera. My legs have got a little bit of an acute bend here, so the lower half of my body feels a little bit sporty. But I am sat otherwise upright. The handlebars are nice and wide. The seat feels nice and padded. There's a bit of room to move around as well. I'm not a huge person. I'm 5'8", so I'm a medium-sized fella. And there's plenty of room for me to move around. I think you'd be all right up to 6 feet on here. Maybe if you're a really big guy, you may struggle. Or girl, for that matter. Let's not be sexist. I don't want to get into any more trouble. So yeah, comfort-wise, this is bang on. Let me just show you that seat. So here it is, it's a two-piece unit, as you can see. This one is nice and padded, actually the bike is relatively short at, I think, 790 millimeters, so I can get my feet flat on the deck, no problem at all. But if you're even shorter than that, you could possibly get the an upholsterer to take some padding out there, because as I say, it is very, very padded. And then you've got this little seat on the back as well for your passenger if they're brave. But yeah, the actual rider seat is the only one I can vouch for, and it's very, very comfortable. Okay, what you're looking at when you're riding the bike then, well, you're looking at this instrumentation here. It's got this lovely TFT on here. Honda have really nailed this one. It just looks really, really clear. Now, there are various presentational formats you can have this TFT in. I've got it in this one with the rev counter in the middle. I've got a black background set. You can change that to metallic, white or automatic, whatever you want. And the fuel gauge on the left. And as you can see, I've got this in the user riding mode. I've put it in user mode because I can change all the parameters quite easily on that. I think you can probably change them in the other modes, to be fair, but anyway, it's easy to do it in that one. I've just backed off the engine braking on this. The riding modes on this bike are very easy to change on the fly. You literally just press this mode button. So I'm in sport mode at the moment. Look, I hit mode and bingo, now I'm in standard. If I roll off the throttle, there you go, now I'm in standard mode. Or similarly, hit mode again and off the throttle, and now I'm in rain mode. So very, very easy to change on the fly. What I would say is, other than in the user mode, I can't tell that much difference between the various modes. I mean, you can see on the display that the parameters change, things like engine braking, traction control, that sort of thing, and power, which I think is basically just throttle response. But honestly, I can't tell a lot of difference between the riding modes on it. But then I'm an insensitive rider. That's not unusual for me. There's a lot of bikes to ride and I can't really tell the difference. Actually, I'll take that back slightly. Having now just gone from rain mode straight into sport, it does feel quite a bit more peppy in sport mode. But anyway, the modes are easy to change, so that's a good thing. Now, I'm not a massive fan of electronics on bikes, but some electronics are good. Things like traction control, ABS are definitely worth having, and that's what this has got. So no complaints there on the electronics. It hasn't got anything unnecessary. It hasn't got keyless ignition, for example. It hasn't got millions of levels of traction control and anti-wheelie and all that stuff. It's just got the stuff you need, which I like. It's just got this particularly bumpy bit of road, because it's always good just to see what the suspension's like. Suspension on here is, well, I was going to say fairly basic, but it's not super duper basic. It's actually Showa big piston separate function forks. Not adjustable except for preload on the rear, but they feel pretty good to me. At my weight, I'm about 72 kilograms at the moment, just around about 11 stone, and it feels, yeah, relatively soft actually. Certainly not jarring my teeth out. I was down this road yesterday on my Panigale, which is a very hard bike in terms of its suspension and ride quality. This is in another league of comfort, I can assure you. So I have no issues with the suspension on here at all. So here are those front upside down forks here. They show separate big piston forks, and they've got 130mm of travel on the front. While we're down here, the brakes on here, as you can see, we've got Nissin calipers on there, and that's a 4-pot caliper, and that's gripping onto a 296mm pair of discs. At the back, we've got a 240mm disc and a single pot caliper. And the rear suspension is served by that monoshock damper, which gives 150mm of travel and does have preload adjustment only. Okay, so much for what the brakes look like. How do they feel? Let me just go down this little road here. And if there's nothing behind me, I'll do a little test. Nothing behind me. Let's get up to a bit of speed. The road's a little bit damp, so I don't want to go mad here. Yeah, front feels pretty good actually. It's got quite a soft initial bite. Let's just try that again. Yeah, it doesn't come on hard, and then it's very, you know, the more you squeeze it, obviously the more grip you get. It's very, you can tell how much braking you're getting as the front compresses. It's nice actually, nice and progressive on the front. Let's just try the rear. Standard rear brake. I mean, it does a job of shredding the bike, but it's nothing special. Certainly didn't lock the wheel up there. Let's just try again. I'm just testing for the ABS, see when that cuts in. No, I'm pressing hard, the ABS isn't cutting in, or it's certainly not obviously so. So the ABS seems pretty good on here. Handling around these bendy roads is just fantastic with this lightweight. I really like that. Alrighty, a little bit of a faster road here. Let me show you the engine and then let's have a listen to it. Okay, so here's that engine then. Brand new engine actually for this bike, and it's also going to be the engine I understand that they're going to use in the new Transalp. The blurb says it's a liquid cooled overhead cam 4-stroke 8-valve parallel twin with a 270-degree crank and a unicam. And as I mentioned, it's got this specially tuned exhaust on here that has different baffles inside, makes different noises depending on what revs you're at. So those Honda boys know what we like, don't they? So that's excellent. In terms of power this engine puts out, the blurb says 67.5 kilowatts at 9,500 RPM. I worked that out to be around about 91 brake horsepower, so a good number. And torque-wise, 75 Newton meters at 7,250 RPM. That's 55 foot-pounds in the old money. So once again, nice and torquey and proper real-world type power, I'd say. Did I mention how big the engine was, capacity-wise? I didn't, did I? It's about a 750, because it says so on the back, look. All right, so this is what the engine sounds and goes like. I'll tell you what, there's plenty of power there. For real-world riding, this is exactly in the sweet spot as far as I'm concerned. No lack of power, easy to overtake on it. Nice delivery too, there's no sort of flat spots, it feels quite linear to me. Gearbox on this one has the optional quick shifter fitted, and I have to say it's really nice, and you can actually adjust the quick shifter on this. I've got this set, the quick shifter set to soft, and what that basically means is I don't have to press it very hard to change gear. You can set it to hard and points in between, and then you have to give it, you know, more force to actually change gear, but I actually quite like it in this soft setting. Just everything about this bike makes it easy to ride. Both up and down the quick shifter seems very good, doesn't seem to complain if you're not giving the bike loads of beans. As I say, that is an optional extra, but I think I would go with that, or it does come in the sports pack. Just trying out this clutch, it feels nice and light. Just thought I'd give it a go there. You don't need to use it much, of course, with the quick shifter, but yeah, it does feel nice and light, the clutch. Just checking out these mirrors while we're talking matters practical. They seem pretty good. I've got a great view behind me. I'm not looking at my shoulders or anything. They're quite nice and big. They're not vibrating at all. Yeah, I mean, obviously the camera on my helmet is at a slightly different angle to where my eyes are, but I've got an excellent view of the car behind, and they're nice and clear, those mirrors, so the mirrors are good. Switch gear on the bike is something else I really like actually. It's very straightforward and simple. Again, not a particularly complicated bike. So on the right hand side, just the start and stop switch, as you'd expect, and then on the left hand side you've got the button to change the modes. You've got a function button, and you've got this little vane here, which I actually quite like. I sometimes complain about the controls for TFTs on bikes, but Honda have got this one about right. It's got this vane arrangement, which is easy to use in your gloves, so you can knock it side to side easy, and then up and down you use those as buttons, so that works really well. I don't know what Honda call that, but I'm going to call it the control vane. But it's almost up there with BMW's whiz wheel for ease of use. Not quite, but almost. These roads are lovely day, but the roads are a little bit slippery where it's damp still. But I'm feeling quite confident because something else that this bike has fitted as standard, which I'm quite surprised about, are Michelin Road 5, I think they are, tyres, which are excellent tyres. I mean, often bikes that are built to budget get tyres that, you know, aren't up to snuff, don't they? But not on the little Hornet. So competitors for this bike, this is quite a busy old segment of the market, are things like the Yamaha MT-07, the Triumph Trident, of course, both great bikes which I loved, but they're both more expensive than this and arguably not as well equipped. So I suspect this bike will do pretty well for Honda, I must say. On this first ride, I really can't find anything I don't like about it. It's comfortable, it's agile, it goes well, it sounds nice. I have to say, I do quite like the noise that this bike makes. The engine's got a nice note to it. I'm slightly stuck behind this Audi now, so I can't really demonstrate. Let's slow right down. Come into second. Here we go. It sounds good. It's got a nice note out the exhaust. What I like about it is it's not obnoxiously loud. It's just enough to give you, the rider, a bit of a grin. So thumbs up to Honda on tuning the exhaust the way they have. Very clever. I don't like to be too gushing on reviews because people then accuse me of just saying nice things because I want manufacturers to lend me bikes in the future, and I can assure you that's not the case. I've got plenty of bikes I can borrow if I need to. But yeah, at the moment nothing bad is waving at me. But I do have this bike for a whole week actually, so I'm going to make some more videos on it. So next or towards the end of the week, I'll make a video about the lessons I've learned on the bike. I'm going to ride it as much as I can in all sorts of different conditions. So if you've got any particular questions about the Honda Hornet, or things you'd like to see, or things you'd like my view on, stick a question below in the comments and I'll pick those up before I do the sort of in-depth review that I do, and I'll try and answer your comments or questions, show you anything you need to see in that follow-up video. So do stick around and stay tuned to the channel if you're interested in the Hornet, because there will be that more content coming soon. So yeah, it's even though this was a bike that I thought, you know, I'm not too interested in that. I wasn't even bothered when you know, Honda originally mentioned it to me. I was like, nah, it's not a bike that's going to interest me. But this has really surprised me. It's a really nice bike. This would be perfect as a first big bike. It's kind of an all-rounder, you know, so you could take it touring if you wanted. You could take it to work every day. You can have fun at the weekends on it. Yeah, it's much better than I anticipated. The only thing for me that lets it down is perhaps the looks, but actually in the flesh it doesn't look as bad as it looked in the pictures. Yeah, nice one, Honda. And of course you've got legendary Honda build quality and reliability as well, all at that price. It's very, very good. What a beautiful day to be out. Anyway, do stick around to the very end of the video if you're interested, till after the credits, because I've been getting lots more questions about the kit that I'm wearing in my reviews of late, and I haven't been doing my little fashion segments. Remember those, where I go through the kit that I'm wearing? So after the closing titles, I'll do a little fashion segment, tell you all about the kit I'm wearing and where you can get it. So if you're interested in that, stick around to the very end of the video. If you've not been to my channel before, thank you very much indeed for watching. I don't just do bike reviews here on the Missington Flyer, but I do bits and pieces about looking after your bike. I do trips and tours at home and abroad. I do monthly bike news, basically everything to do with motorcycles. I'll try and cover it here on the channel. I'll try and keep a bit of variety going if I can. It would be great to have you along on the next one, so do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done already, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next video. Until then, this has been the Missington Flyer. Cheerio. Okay, thanks for sticking around to the very end of the video. Fashion segment time, the bit you've all been waiting for. Let's start off with the helmet that you saw me wearing on this review. Here it is. It's my trusty Schubert C5. It's a flip front helmet, and I have to say I've really liked it. I've had this for probably about 18 months now, something like that. It's my helmet of choice. I find it very, very quiet and comfortable as well. And actually for vlogging it's very, very good because it is so quiet. It being a flip front, it means that not a lot of sound comes in through the neck piece, because the neck piece of course can be tighter to you than they would normally be on a normal closed face helmet. Anyway, this one, what can I say about it? It's in gloss white. I've got the built-in communications on this as well, well, which is an extra, by the way. The visor on here obviously flips up, but then it reveals this internal sun visor if you need it, so you don't have to wear sunglasses, although I wear sunglasses as well. And yeah, I recommend the C5 to the house. Other things I should mention about it is it's ECE 22.06 approved. Apparently that's something that all helmets in the future are going to need to be, and there aren't many on the market that actually are. If you want one of these, it will cost you £539.99, or if you want one in colours, slightly more. I'll stick a link below to the helmet if you're interested as well. In fact, I'll stick links below to all the kit that I'm wearing, so you can go and take a look at them for yourself. Next up, I should mention my neck buff. This is obviously sort of my own merch. It's from the TMF website, which is www.themissingtonflyer.com. No, it's not. Yes, it is. And these will cost you £8, so an absolute bargain. Go and check those out. Again, links below. This jacket you've seen me wearing is from a company called Segura. It's called the Segura Nacho jacket. It's CE approved to, I think, level A, which is basically their urban category. So it's not for track days and things like that, but if you're riding in towns or just around about the lanes like I'm doing, then it's perfectly good for that. I think it's really stylish. It fits well. It's got a hood on it. It's nice and warm for these sort of intermediate temperatures that we're having at the moment. In terms of cost, it costs you £259.99. Once again, link below. These jeans that I'm wearing are for a company called PMJ. They're actually Italian, and these are called their DEUX jeans. They're single layer and they're AAA approved, so that's the highest level of approval that you get with the CE ratings. They're really comfy. I think they look good. You know, they're the sort of thing that you can go to the pub in and not look as if you've just come off of a motorcycle. And yeah, recommend those. Pricing wise on the jeans, £229.98. And then last but not least, my boots. These are called well, they're from a company called Falco, and these are their Air Force boots. Again, they're CE rated. They're really summer boots. They're good for airflow, but they've got some protection built in, and those will cost you £103.98. And again, I'll put links below to the boots. All those links below, by the way, are what are called affiliate links. So that means that if you click on those and you subsequently buy something, I get a little bit of a kickback, which does help the channel, but it's at no extra cost to you. And by the way, all those links are with a company called Sports Bike Shop. They don't sponsor the channel or anything other than those affiliate links, but I just find that their service and their pricing is excellent. If you don't want to buy online, then go and check out my sponsor's website, bikerheads.com. Again, I'll put a link below to them because they supply all the kit, and you can actually go and have a look and find out where your local supplier is if you want to actually try them on before you buy, so to speak. Alrighty, that's it for now. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Cheers. Oh, what an absolute treat to be out on a bike without my thermal underwear on. Right, off-road on the Hornet.